Okay, hi. So these are responses to Yusef because there's too much to write. And I don't use punctuation, so, and it's served very poorly. And there's just too many things to just address. And you just crack me up. I mean, I've told you this before that you remind me of all these people who I used to hang out with. And I think I know some of the reasons now why. Okay, so I had to write this all down so I would make sure I remember everything. Um, Thank you so much for always, protecting my privacy. I don't, now that I have this other channel, I don't care if you ever mention my name. Just, before when everything was all weird and I just, so yeah, that's all taken care of. Okay, so here was the punctuation thing. Um, the idea of the perspective of the deity's idea of humans changing from basically um, if you don't follow all the rules, then you're gonna get the hellfire. Okay. To instead, I love you no matter what, all the time. Okay. So that was, that's what I perceive to be, and if it's not, just correct me. The different perspectives of, what was happening for you possibly, from Muslim and then to Eastern Orthodox. But in the middle of that, it was thank you for saying you love me as sister, because I love you as a brother, so all that is great. Okay, the only part of the definition of cult that I thought correlated to Baha'i, I don't think that it's a cult. I just thought it was interesting that one aspect of what can be a cult is to not be reading material from whatever they're telling you not to read. And yes, we're not, see, I keep saying we. Baha'is are not allowed to read literature from or have contact with people who are called covenant breakers. So that was the only part of it. Now, evangelicals call us, or see, I still keep doing that, call Baha'is, a cult all the time, and they think it's the Antichrist and all kinds of stuff, which it never could be anyways because there's never one leader. It's always a group of people. So that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I don't think that they're like on par with the Moonies or something, or like Scientologists or something like that. No, it's legitimate in every way. But the only thing that's similar is that. Okay, so yeah, you put my mind at rest about a lot of things, like that there are certain phrases that just roll through your head, and they do in mine too. And Gambler just keeps telling me to calm down about it because and not to worry, because I mean, I sort of started to break them down and, what's the word? Translate them. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a nice form of phrase anyway. Or I still believe that. Or I don't care if, one of the prayers that I used to say I still like is poetry or something like that. But the one that really caught me off guard was voodoo, because I was like, oh my gosh, I miss ablutions so bad. And it's funny because, like, as a Jew, there's ablutions and prostrations, and as a Baha'i, there's ablutions and prostrations, and now there's nothing. So, and I think it's fine to like wash your hands and feet or whatever, blah blah blah. That I'll go through all those, because then your hands are clean. It's just prayer book, so it preserves the book. So there, that was so good. The food thing. It's interesting to me that that pork is still one that you think about. Um, I always feel like naughty, like if I'm eating something that's treif, which would be haram, like it still feels like I'm getting away with something that somehow I shouldn't be in some sort of a way. But the only thing, and this was one that I made a privatized video because I haven't released it, because I wasn't sure if I had quoted you right. I had thought I had heard you say that the only food restriction had to do with blood in meat. And the weird thing is that in Jewish kashrut, that in an egg you wouldn't eat blood either. And so I wondered, is that like something that people think about when they're proceeding with that? Or have I gotten it wrong totally? Just tell me. Okay. Um, yeah. Thanks for the birthday hint about the icons. Icons. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, heat lightning. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. that you're gonna go capture some heat lightning. You have no idea how thrilled I am. That is some weird stuff. Okay, so now finally for the acid conversation. Because it had to come up at some point of when you went with your friend. Okay, that's why you remind me of so many of my friends. Now, here's the weird thing, and this almost answers one of my 4 questions and 1 lie thing, which I still need to go through. But I never did drop acid because all of my friends always did it constantly. And there were always people who were like making sure that I didn't, like they really didn't want me to for various reasons. And all of them are valid. And it's really good that I never did. But I was always the person who, just hung out with everybody. And I just had as much great fun time as anybody else. And even one of those nights was like the first night that I could start to feel energy passing. And so I was like, I think I consider that the night at which I sort of decided I wanted to, heal with my hands. But then because I had been through all this with so many other people and watched how they had taken care of themselves in all kinds of weird situations where they're geeking out and doing all sorts of stuff, I became the person that people would call when they were geeking out or having a bad trip, or it was like their first time or whatever, and they're just like going nuts. And I'm there and I bring the orange juice and I stay up with them for all these hours and, blah, 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 and make sure they don't do bizarre stuff and kind of talk them back into reality when they're like not sure and all of that kind of stuff. So it really cracks me up that you went to church like that, because the closest that I ever got to something like that was I was stoned one time and I was geeking out like in the bacon section, and it was like when I was vegetarian too, and I like called my husband. I'm like, dude, you gotta come get me. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm geeking out in the store, man. I'm freaking out. He's like, where are you? I'm like, sweetheart, I'm in the supermarket. I'm like really freaking out. I'm in the bacon section. He's like, what are you doing in the bacon section? It doesn't even make sense. You don't even eat bacon. I'm like, I know, but now I want bacon. He's like, why do you want bacon? You don't even eat bacon. Anyway, so yeah. The other half of that story is one of the first times that I ever knew he loved me was when he got mad at me for getting stoned with somebody. Yeah. Okay. So now I've said all way too much. I don't know if I'll even release this because it's just odd. And thanks so much for answering so many questions and being so lighthearted and kind, and anyways. All right. Peace on your heart. Good night.